Hello, everybody. I want to explain to you the keynote presentation if you have a hard time just understanding the presentation by itself. Um, so, the name or the subject for this presentation is how to name ions. So, it's pretty easy to do. So, a rose by any name, that's from Shakespeare, just a little joke here. So here we go. Rules for naming ions. So positive ions first, they're easy to name. All you have to do is name the element and then add the word ion. Like sodium ion would be just sodium ion. Magnesium 2 plus is just magnesium ion. With negative ion, you have to change the ending of the name you have to change it by adding the IDE. So here you have chlorine. When it becomes ion, you call it chloride ion. Nitrogen, when it becomes ion, you call it nitride ion. So note that they end with IDE, sorry. Here are some more examples. As you can see, the cations are the positive ions and nothing changes. But the anions that are negative ions, they all end with IDE with their root name given in blue. Transition metals are always problems, and remember, transition metals are metals in groups 3 through 12. So those are called transition metals. Remember that from the last video? And all transition metals, all metals in fact, make positive ions. So metals make positive ions. And for transition metals, because they can have multiple oxidation states, you have to denote which oxidation state a certain ion has. All right, so here are rules for naming transition ions, transition metals, and remember they're all positive. There are no negative ions for metals. So you follow the rule for naming positive ion. No change in name, but you have to write the oxidation state of that ion using a Roman numeral in parentheses. So here are some examples. Iron, this is iron 2 plus. So you write iron, the name iron, then 2, that double I there in parentheses, meaning that it is a 2 plus ion. And iron 3 plus, you write iron again, but this time you put number 3, that's a triple I, capital I there, meaning it's a Roman number for 3. So that tells you that this iron has a 3 plus charge, not a 2 plus charge. Here's manganese. Manganese, this particular ion is a 5 plus ion. So in parentheses between the name of the element and the ion, you put 5. And V means 5 in Roman number. Here are more examples, so you can take a look at those a little more on your own. Different Roman numbers denoted behind the name of the ion. And the common names or trivial names, we don't usually use that in chemistry class at this point anyway, for tests and things like that. Okay, to summarize, oxidation state, remember it represents the number of ions an atom loses, gains, or shares. I forgot S there. Metals in groups 1 and 2, and some other metals too that aren't transition metals, they have single oxidation state. So that means there's just one oxidation state for each metal. Some transition metals, not all of them, just some, have multiple oxidation states, like the examples I gave you in other videos. Iron, for example, has a few oxidation states, +2, +3, +4. And so when you name these ions, transition metal ions, you have to specify which oxidation state the ion is, because it could be +1 or +2 or +5. And names of negative ions, remember, have to end with IDE. Okay, so here's a list of Roman numbers for you, 1 through 10. You should all know these numbers. Which one is 5, which one is 4. Notice 4 and 6 are just kind of flipped around. And I want you to know these Roman numbers by heart, just by looking at them. Okay, here's a chemistry joke for you. Can you remember the chemical formula for water? HIJKLMNO. Teacher says, "That's not what I taught you." Student says, "It is. You said the formula was H2O. Ha ha." And here's another one. I make bad science jokes because all the good ones, what? Are gone. Ha ha ha. I hope you enjoy this video. Now go do your practice. And if you can't click on the link, just go to Scholar G. But please, before you go do your practice, know your materials. You only get one chance.